Welcome to the podcast editing and support show. My name is Dave. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. We're going to start the episode right now. Happy to have you here. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Glad to be back with you again. We are in the month of September and we've had a little break because my wife and I bought a rental property and we've been working night and day between our regular jobs and flipping a house and getting it ready for our tenant. So we're finally out of the woods. We're almost done. We're a little bit left to finish up on the house, but what a great feeling to put the tools back into the truck and drive home, knowing that I don't need to do that part anymore. That part is done. So yeah, if you need a painter, if you need somebody to change a toilet, lay flooring, do trim work, all of that. It's been a fun adventure. And that's kind of where I've been for the last little bit. And I know it's been a little while since we've been here, but I wanted to say hi. And today I want to talk a little bit about going to a podcast conference, which I'm doing in a few weeks, and how this can be a opportunity for you as a podcast editor to get out there and meet people. What do I need to know? How do I even prepare for a podcast conference, especially if it's my first time going to this event? As a podcast editor, how can I take this opportunity to build relationships and talk to people and tell them about my business and what I do as an editor? And as well, for a podcast host, to be on the lookout for people like me who edit podcasts that you might make connections with at an event. How can we leverage these amazing networking opportunities to benefit our business, grow our business, and meet new people, new clients as a result of our being at these events? So that's our focus today. Glad you're here. Let's jump in. So my name is Dave. I'm so glad you're here on the podcast with me. And like I said, we're going to be talking about how to leverage podcast conferences and meetups and events where you're going to be in the room with other people virtually or in person, and how you can use that as an opportunity to grow your business. Some prep before you go to your next event so that you can make the best of it. Now, for me, my wife and I are going to an event in Calgary, Alberta, Canada called Pod Summit, and it's happening soon. And it's expensive. Like the flight there for the two of us, the hotel, all of those things combined, the actual fee to get into the event. It's a lot of money we're putting out. We're turning it into a little mini vacation and is staying an extra day just to see friends and family out there as well. But really, these events can be quite expensive. And I know as a Canadian, when I look to the US events, they're super expensive because we're going to another country. We have to exchange our money and there's passports. It's just a big thing. So I haven't been to any of the US events, and I may go in the future, but I'm going to use Pod Summit as kind of a litmus test as to whether or not being at events is going to be a great thing for me. So I'm still kind of on the fence about all of this, but I want to share with you how I'm preparing to make the most out of the investment in time, money, taking time off work, taking time that could be holiday time to go somewhere else with my wife, but go to a conference. There's a lot of things that I'm kind of weighing out as I prepare for this. And I wanted to share my thoughts for you as a podcast editor that maybe this could be a great opportunity for you to meet people. Attending a podcast conference or meeting like this is, as a podcast editor, can be highly beneficial for you in growing your business and expanding your network, meeting more people knowing about you. So here's some key advantages and strategies for us to think about as we prepare to go to these events. First of all, just the benefits of attending the event in general. Going to these events are going to help you to learn about the industry more. The more you learn about the industry, the better you can serve your clients. Again, remember, your clients are doing a podcast maybe in addition to a business. They don't have time to learn all of the things about podcasting. They're not up to date on all the news and the trends. They don't understand all that. They've hired you to be that for them, just like they would hire someone to run their Instagram or build them a website. They don't want to see the inside behind the scenes stuff. They just want to know it works. So you're going to learn things that you can bring back to your clients and educate them or give them additional services or help them understand where the podcast industry is going. And you'll learn that by just going to these events. You're going to learn about latest trends, technologies, best practices in podcasting, and you get to learn from your cohorts, other people in the space as well. It's going to help you to develop your skills and enhance what you can do. By attending the workshops that are provided by these great events, you can learn, and during the sessions and the keynotes, there's opportunities for you to take things back to your process, to your business, to how you do things that can make you more efficient and help you to do your job better, just by learning from other people outside of your area and outside of your knowledge. On top of all this is the networking opportunities. Just connecting with other podcasters, producers, editors, and the industry professionals that are out there attending these conferences. Again, you get to be in front of people you would not normally get to meet. So leverage that opportunity. Don't be the fly on the wall, and I'm kind of talking to myself here. Don't be the fly on the wall who doesn't engage and interact. Be the person to walk up to a total group of strangers and introduce yourself and make new connections. This is something you need to do to leverage and earn back the investment you've made to be there. Don't let that go by. And then just working through the opportunity of meeting potential clients. Meet podcasters who may need your editing services just by being at the event. Anything you can do to draw attention to the fact that you're an editor. You could have t-shirts branded to your editing services. You could have a funny quote or a funny thing. I have one that says, "Cut the crap, hire a good podcast editor," right? So that kind of thing, that makes it stand out in a crowd. I have one that says on the back of my shirt, "You are now following a podcast editor." So when they're walking behind me or standing in line, they're like, "Oh, that's funny because I'm actually following you." That's right there. You're right in front of me. So anything like that you could do to stand out is great. I like business cards. I bring business cards. I know they're old school, but you can leave them places. And on my business card, I have a QR code. So you can take out your phone and take a picture of it and go right to my website, right to all my podcasts that I do. It's a great way to make that connection, and you don't have to kind of explain everything. And you never know who's going to grab that business card. And if you grab someone's business card, please make sure you follow up. Don't get back to your routine, and 3-4 weeks later you pull out this stack of cards and go, "I don't remember any of these people," and you toss them. There's a reason why you have their card. Follow up, make the connection, and talk to them about the show. So how do you turn a podcasting event into a client acquisition opportunity? Well, I have a few suggestions for you, and I want you to think about how you can do this at your next event. So number one, prepare your pitch. Your pitch is important. You got to know who you are, who you serve, what you do. Are you a video editor? Are you an audio editor? Are you both? Or do you do social media? Do you guest scheduling for people? Do you find podcasts for your people to go on? What is your thing? What do you do and what do you not do? That's very important. So prepare your pitch. Develop a concise, compelling description of your services. Keep it short and to the point. And focus on the value that you provide rather than just a list of features and things that you accomplish. What's the value behind it? That speaks more to a potential client than anything else. Prepare your pitch. The next thing, listen and offer solutions. At your next podcasting event, there's going to be small groups of people talking about things. There's going to be conversations that are happening where you can be included in that. But listen to what's happening. Listen to what's being said. Don't talk over people. Don't talk down to people. Listen to the conversation and add value where you can. Engage in conversations with people and listen to the challenges that are coming up within the conversation. Offer tailored advice and solutions based on what you've done or their specific needs. Give examples and stories. Really helpful to be part of the conversation when you come, not to sell, but to support. And that's one thing you can do in your next podcast meeting and conference as well. Showcase your expertise. When you have the opportunity, and I don't have this going forward in this event coming up, but participate in panel discussions or Q&A sessions if possible. Offer your expertise to the organizer of the event. Share your insights during informal conversations to demonstrate your knowledge. Realize that there's going to be people at all different levels at this event. Some people have been doing this for a long time. Some people haven't even started yet. So at different levels, your expertise is going to match with the audience. So understand how you can show up and provide value in the conversations in real time, just like you would do on a podcast, just like you do with your clients. Show up and offer your expertise. That's what's going to set you apart. In a large setting with lots of people and lots of noise, you want to find a way to be unique and different in a crowded space. So what else do you need to focus on as we prepare for these events? How about making connections without being overly salesy? How do you do that? How do you connect with people in a way where it doesn't feel like you're there just to throw business cards in their face, but you're there to build a relationship and a rapport with a new potential client? How do you do that without being salesy? First of all, focus on building relationships. And again, like I go through this list with you, this is kind of a podcast that I'm going to listen to on the way to the event so that I can remind myself to be as effective and impactful as possible. But focus on building relationships in your in-person or virtual meetups, conferences, and events. Just aim to create a genuine connection with all those around you rather than to be focused on selling. Show interest in others and their work, ask questions of them, and get their experiences and use it as a way of being curious in a group setting where you might have an answer to a solution to something that they're struggling with. Just by being there, you can listen. So listen first, speak last. So after you focus on building relationships, the next thing is to offer value first in everything that you do at the time when you're at these conferences. Share tips or resources without expecting anything in return. That's something that will set you apart from the salesy people there who are just there to push their program services and all of that. You're here to share tips and resources, and you don't need anything back from these people. You're just there to serve. Be a helpful resource to establish trust and credibility. I think that going to these events is all more about you going to give than to receive. And a lot of the feedback I hear about events is what people didn't get by attending. I'd like to flip that around and say, what did you give to the event as a participant? More than what did you come away with as a learned opportunity, a lesson, or something that you're going to put into place. What did you bring to the conversation at these events? And then number 3 would just be following up strategically. So again, I mentioned having this stack of business cards when you get back from an event. But what do you do with this information when you get back into your daily routine after the event's all over? The hype's gone, the bill's here to pay now, the credit card has come in. Now it's time to hit the reality of, oh, wow, this was an expensive event. What are you going to do to get your return on investment for this? And that is to follow up with the people you met. Collect contact information and follow up after the event from your people that you've met, and reference specific conversations to personalize your outreach. This is not the time for a form, letter, email, copy, paste, where you send it out to the 20 people you met and it's the exact same email. You want to tailor it to specifics in the conversation you had. And what I did on my business card is I left a little note section. So a little blank space with some lines so people could write things, or I could write things for them to keep that connection top of mind, front and center, so that they remember me and they remember the conversation we had. So it could be, I'll write on my card before I give it to them, we discussed audio editing for a weekly podcast. And I write that on the card, hand it to them. So now they have that reminder that, oh, that was Dave. That was the guy that I talked to. So think of that as you do these connections in real time. How can you make this last? And do your best from a recipient of all these cards to reach out, make connections, follow them on social media, make comments, get in their DMs, go listen to their podcast if they have a podcast. Do something to engage with that person after everything is done and you're on your way home back to your normal routine. Some other things as we kind of wrap up my thoughts around attending events is some suggestions for effective networking. Again, this could be used in person or it can be used online, it can be used anywhere. But here's some basic things to think about that will help you to be more effective at networking with others. Wherever you can, attend the social events that are put on by the event promoters and organizers. There's a reason for them. Now, I know that they're usually sponsored by big companies and they're there to sell you something. In effect, that's why they sponsor these events after, in the evenings at the events like this. But still go, be social. Don't just skip out on that. That's a missed opportunity. And for me, as an introverted type person, those are the events that I struggle with the most. Going to a class or hearing somebody speak, we're all listening, right? We're all kind of just listening to what's happening. Being in a social event is a totally different thing, a totally different animal. And it's something that I'm going to need to work on in preparation for this event coming up in September. But attend these events. Push yourself. If that's not you, push yourself. Go there. Be a part of it as much as you can to the level you can feel comfortable. But being there is going to give you the opportunity to see people a little less business focused and a little more social. And that's where you want to make great networking connections. Also use social media. Engage with the event's hashtag if they have one. That's a great way to tie you into the conversation. So whatever that hashtag is, some of these events have an app where you can connect with people within the app designed for the event. That's really amazing. But connect with people on social media in real time. So if I have a conversation with somebody, I have their Instagram handle or I have their website, I'm going to make note of it right away and make that connection in real time because they're going to see me connecting with them. If there's Wi-Fi, they're going to see me connecting with them immediately. And that's a bridge right there. Follow up with that. And then as well, bring business cards. I talked about this earlier. I do still use business cards. I like to use something simple that you can write on, not glossy and shiny where a pen doesn't write on it. I like something easy. I have my QR code on my podcast business cards, and I have a few of my logos because I have 8 shows. They don't all fit. A few of my logos on the back so people remember that I have more than one podcast, and just some basic information, all branded around my TrueMediaSolutions.ca website. So business cards are good, and then schedule some one-on-one meetings. Set up a coffee chat or quick meetings with potential clients or collaborators so that when you get back to your office or back to your studio or your home, you have some meetings and follow-ups to do. So a Calendly link is great, something you can send people to. That's possibly another great idea for your business card is some way for people to connect with you. So attend these social events after hours, after all the sessions are done and people go and let down their hair and have a few drinks or whatever they do, go attend those social events. Use social media, bring your business cards, and schedule some one-on-one meetings. By focusing on building relationships at these events, offering value, showcasing your expertise, you can effectively turn a podcast conference into a client acquisition opportunity without resorting to being aggressive in your sales tactics. Just remember that the goal is to establish yourself as a knowledgeable and trustworthy professional in the podcasting community. You can do that by being there and being present on site for the event, being social, being interactive, coming with value, listening instead of talking all the time, and not throwing your business in people's faces, but listening to their pain points, listening to what people are dealing with, and realize again that people are at all different levels. There's going to be people there at these shows that know way more than you do, and there's going to be people there that have no idea what's going on. So find your people, connect with them, and nurture that relationship and conversation. Would love to meet you at a future event. If you have an event that you're attending in the future, I'd love to know about it. If I can go, I'd love to go. But if it's a virtual event online or it's in person, send me a message. I'd love to hear about it at podcastingeditingandsupport.com. And all the information's in the show notes as well. I'd love to meet you sometime at the next event so you and I can connect. And we can talk about our podcasting business. We can talk about our show and how we're growing as an editor and as a podcaster. And thank you for being here. And thank you for your patience for letting me get my house in order, as that's actually a thing, as I get my rental unit ready. Thank you for the patience of letting me kind of do that in the month of August. Happy to be back into podcasting now in September. excited to be with you and to see where the podcast goes. And I'd love to hear your feedback on the website. There's a SpeakPipe link. Let me know what you think and share your podcasting experiences at conventions and events. I'd like to learn from you as well. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Visit us at podcasteditingandsupport.com, podcasteditingandsupport.com. We would love to help you find a great podcast editor, or if you want to hire us, we would love to work with you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. Catch you on the next episode. Take care.